Welcome to Yoga with Complete Absolute Proper Beginners, and perhaps a slightly bigger lady than the average yogi. So we're going to start by going down onto the floor, and I'm just going to take a moment here real quick just to chat a little bit about this. So I see a lot of yoga videos with young, lithe, or even older, lithe, very skinny women, and it doesn't really accommodate for those of us that are perhaps getting back into athletics and have put on a little bit of weight, that might have bigger boobs now that we're a little older, belly, and they don't ever kind of really go from the moment one of how do I balance, how do I hold my stomach muscles in. So I want to take this moment to do a little bit of a slower, really gentle yoga practice and show anybody that is wanting to try yoga but has felt intimidated by it that you can do it. Maggie's time was just a couple of days ago and she absolutely loved it, and it's something that is for everyone. It is the most gentlest form of exercise that you can get into. It is probably the best thing you can start to get into because you can really take your time and learn what each thing means. One of the things that I really do hate about going to a yoga class, in America at least, is that there are always mirrors in front of us. And I don't know about you, but I don't want to look at myself. I don't want to see what I'm doing wrong. But yoga is all about feeling. How does it feel? How do you feel? And it's one of the reasons why we are told to close our eyes quite a lot in yoga. So I want you to close your eyes. I want you to do your practice by yourself if you want, or go to a class, but don't pay attention to mirrors. Pay attention to how it feels. And so if you do close your eyes, if you have any kind of vertigo or any kind of balance issue and you need your eyes open, then do keep your eyes open. Just try to relax into your flow. So we're going to start cross-legged on the floor, whichever place is most comfortable for you. Now, if you are at the stage where it is a struggle to get down onto the floor, then I suggest that you have a chair next to you so that you can use that as a way to help you get back down onto the floor and then back up to standing. It is the most important thing as we get older to be able to get up and down off the floor if you fall. So it is one of the most important things that I would suggest that you practice and get to the point where you feel you can get yourself off the floor without an aid or an assist or a chair. So we're going to just start in the cross-legged position. We're going to put our hands, palms up onto our knees and close your eyes. And I want you to just take stock of your body, how it feels, where it's at, and we're going to breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth. And I want you to take these breaths nice and gentle, in through the nose, out through the mouth. As you breathe, I want you to breathe into your stomach, down towards your pelvic floor, and breathe out, just releasing. One of the things that we do often is we raise our shoulders sometimes when we take a conscious breath. So what we're trying to do is not use the rib cage and use our diaphragm muscle, which is around here. So if you're struggling to find it, put your hands on just underneath your rib cage where the soft squishy part starts. Breathe into your hands and breathe out through the mouth. Breathe in through the nose. Breathe out through the mouth. Let's do it for a few minutes of just getting into grips with our body. Breathing out. Breathing again. Breathe out. Now, while we're here in this seated position, I want us to connect with our abdominal muscles. One of the things that we are often told to do when we're doing these yoga poses is to pull in our muscles, and nobody really explains what that means. bottom of your pelvic floor and suck them up to your rib cage. And breathe out. Breathe in. Suck from the bottom of your pelvic floor up towards your rib cage. Breathing out. If you have your hand on it, you should be able to sort of start to feel it curling up from your pelvic floor up to your rib cage and out. Now, if you have a slightly larger belly, the most important thing is to feel it from the inside. So feeling it from your pelvic floor, sucking it up towards your rib cage, and then relaxing it down. So you can gently open your eyes if you had them closed. And one of the important things is we do put some stress into our eyes sometimes. So just keep them idle, look gently ahead. We're going to take our right ear and pull it towards our right shoulder. With our left hand, we're going to place it towards the ground. We're just going to breathe in this spot, so take a breath in through the nose, breathe out through the mouth. Now reach with the left hand towards the floor, breathe in through the nose, breathe out through the mouth. Once again, breathe in, breathe out. We're going to take your right hand and we're going to put it onto our left shoulder. And we're going to reach towards the back of that shoulder. We're just going to draw some circles, gently massaging your own shoulder. Once again, keeping that breath in and going out. Now you'll hear us constantly talking about breathing in and breathing out because it's very easy to start holding your breath as you do these poses. And it's important to remember to breathe into these stretches and into these poses. We're going to sneak our hand in circles going up towards, up your neck towards your ear, just under your ear and into the muscles of your neck. We're going to take some just straight lines down all the way back down to your shoulder, then back up towards your ear, back down towards your shoulder, down towards your ear. Release that hand up and bring your right hand on top of your head and just let the weight of your hand give you a little extra stretch on your neck. Reach towards the floor again with your left hand. Take a breath in here. Take a breath out. Breath in here. And breathe out. Just take a moment to feel how different your neck feels in this moment. I want you to turn your head, your nose to the crook of your elbow. And place your hand back onto your head. And just dip your head down towards the floor. Slightly different stretch. Stretch your left arm back out to the floor. Take a breath in. Breathe out. Pulling your head down again. Not too strong, just let the gravity pull your head down. Breathe in. Breathe out. Okay, release our hand back down to our leg. Bring yourself back to neutral. And do the other side. One of the most important things in yoga is to always do the other side. Don't just do the right and then we skip the left. Always do the right and the left or vice versa. So we're going to tilt our head, our left ear towards our left shoulder. We're going to stretch our right arm down to the floor. Take a breath in this position. Feel how different it is to your left side now. Take a breath in. Breathe out. Breath in. Breathe out. Breath in. Breathe out.
back onto the top of your head and let gravity pull that down. Do a slightly different stretch. Stretch your right arm back to the floor again. Breathe in this position. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Release your hands. Let's bring ourselves back to neutral position. Just take a moment to take stock of where you are. We're just going to drop our head down to the floor. And drop it, bring it back up to the ceiling. Bring your chin up to the ceiling. And then drop it back down to the floor. Bring it back up to the ceiling. Back to neutral. Take a look to the right. Take a look to the left. And back to neutral. Now we're going to go into what we call a tabletop. And for anybody that is actually a proper yoga person, I don't remember all the names, so I'm just going to call a spade a spade. And we're going to go into our tabletop position, which is basically where you're on your knees or hips width apart, and your arms are stretched out and in front of you, underneath your shoulders, is what you will always get told. But I was told the other day by a yogi that you want to make sure that you have the right width for your hands, for your shoulders. So one of the ways that you can figure out what that is to bring your hands to the side and just see what is your position of your hands when you spread out the fingers. And that is the position that your hands want to be on the mat. So if we bring them back down, you want to make sure that you have enough space between your fingers and turned out as much as you need it to be, so that you can put all of your weight through all of your fingers. If you find that your fingers are crunching and your index finger and your thumb are starting to lift off, then you might need to turn it out or in order to make sure that you have all of your weight into your hand. I was very grateful to this yogi teacher for teaching this. Nobody has ever told me that. And I was wondering why my arms weren't getting stronger. So we're going to find this position, and we're just going to rock our hips from side to side. Let's get a little movement going in our hips. And don't forget to breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. Now, if at any time any of this feels uncomfortable at all, if you have bad knees, you can just lift your knee up, give it a break. Just give it rock to side as it's moving. We're going to roll onto our right hand and just rock a little bit of weight there. I'm going to lift our left hand, put our hand in a fist, and just roll the wrist around. If you're not used to putting any weight on your wrist, you're going to need to do this. And then you're going to turn the opposite way. You might feel a little crunchy in there. And if at any time you start to feel any strain on your wrists at all, go ahead and just take a moment to do this. Place it back down. We're going to go ahead and move over to our left side. Our weight onto our left side, lift our right up, push into a fist. Just rotate the wrist around one way and then back the other way. Right, we've got to give the other one a shake, but we'll give them a shake afterwards as well. Take a moment to shake out the other one since we've got it. Okay, so in our tabletop position here, just get yourself resettled. Make sure you've got your knees hip width apart, your arms underneath your shoulders, but with the right turn out of your hands to give yourself a good strong base. And we're going to lift our right hand to our ear, and we're just going to do a simple twist by lifting up our elbow to the ceiling as high as we can. Breathe in this position. Now if you were like me, I've had a recent elbow and shoulder injury, so we're going to just move this down, so back down to the floor, not all the way to the floor, just down to the facing the floor, and bring it back up to the ceiling. We're just going to move in this position while remembering to breathe. Just take it at your own pace. It's amazing when you have an injury how much a simple thing suddenly seems to be so difficult. So if you have any injuries, always take it very slow in that area and only go as far as it burns but doesn't hurt. I'm going to bring that arm back down to the tabletop position. We're going to switch sides, bring your hand to your ear and lift your elbow to the ceiling. Out. Take a few minutes just in this position. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Let's move it down. Elbow towards the floor. Back up to the ceiling. At your own pace. Your shoulders are really movable so much here. Bring yourself back to tabletop. If you need to, go ahead and give your wrists a bit of a twist again in case you need to. We don't really tend to use our wrists in much until we start doing yoga, so do that as often as you need to in this practice. Now we're going to go into something called cat and moon, and I'm going to turn myself a little bit for you. But don't worry if this doesn't look like this on you yet, because it's going to be about how you feel. So we're going to make sure we're in our tabletop position, and the first thing we're going to do is we're going to actually go into the moon first. So I want you to, we were talking earlier about bringing the stomach muscles from the base of the pelvis up to the rib cage. So that's what I want you to do first. I want you to suck in the muscles towards your rib cage, and you're going to create an arch in your back, and that's called cat. You're arching your back like a cat. And what I want you to focus on is bringing that muscle up inside your abdominal muscle up to your rib cage. You don't breathe out as you do that. As you breathe in, you're then going to just let that entirely drop, and the goal is to lift your butt as high into the sky as you can. And that is moon. So we're going to do that in our flow. So take a breath in. Just tuck up the muscle up to your rib cage. Breathe back in and drop into our moon. We're going to go through this a few times. So breathe in. Breathe it out as you're sucking in muscle. Breathe it back in, out. And breathe out. Sucking in that muscle. Breathe in. So do this as many times as you feel comfortable. Suck in the muscle as you go into your cat pose. From here, after we've done enough what you feel comfortable with, we're going to go into a child's pose. And child's pose is where you sit back on your knees and keep your arms long and relax your head down to the mat. Now for those of us that have a bit of a belly, you might want to find that you open up your knees a little bit to allow that belly to settle in between you. If you feel more comfortable with your forearms on the ground, then please feel free to do so. This should be a place of relaxation. It's not necessarily a stretch, but it can be stretching in the lower back. If you have any issues with your knees at all, and this is uncomfortable for you, then feel free to bring your knees a little bit higher and stretch your arms out further forward. So for those of you that are able to sit back, this will be a lower back stretch for you. And put your head on the mat. You breathe in through your nose here. And breathe out. If you have any shoulder issues in this position as well, feel free to bring your hands back a little bit further so that it's comfortable for you. The key thing for yoga is that it's comfortable for you. You want to stretch and push your boundaries a little, but you don't want to hurt yourself. Not until you push a stretch further than you are ready for. You can keep pushing further forward each time, but only as far as it burns but does not hurt. And having a few more breaths in this position. I just realised I was talking to the mat, so hopefully you heard that. What I'm going to reiterate, do any stretches to where it burns but does not hurt. Ourselves back into our tabletop, and we're going to come into our standing position. So if you need the chair in order to get back up, you're going to come back onto your actually we're going to do a toe stretch first. I forgot about that. So we're going to touch our toes up here so that they are ready to be lifted. I'm going to show you this way. So rather than our feet here, just tuck them here, and we're just going to do a little lift our knee up and down, just to give a little bit of stretch in our toes. We don't ever stretch our toes that often. Make sure that your tabletop is well balanced as you do this. Just moving them through the toes as much as you can. You might find that this is shockingly tight. We never think to stretch our toes. Ever. And bring myself back here. So on these toes, keeping them up, we're now going to make sure we iterate your tabletop position, because we're going to push in these arms and bring ourselves to downward dog. So downward dog, you're going to push the arms and you're going to try to straighten your legs and push back with your arms. This is uncomfortable. Do it for as long as you can before you can bring yourself back down to heel. Do not let yourself fall. If you find yourself that you're getting wobbly, bring yourself back to this position. We're going to use this to actually get up to standing now. So we're going to go back into our downward dog. And we're going to take a little walk towards our hands. As you need to lift your hands a little bit. If you are unable to reach the floor, you might start using your legs to get that balance. Now we're just going to roll up through the spine to standing. Now if you were using the chair to get up, I still want you to try to do that position. You'll use the chair to lean on as you first start, and then just bring the feet closer to the chair, and then roll up to standing. Okay? Okay. So, let's start with some crescent moon. So we're going to put our feet not exactly together. You're going to put it into just hips width apart, but not wide. Okay? So you want your toes facing directly forward. And we're just going to bring our shoulders up and down, just to remind ourselves where our shoulder position should be. And one of the things about standing positions and standing poses and balance poses is that you want to make sure that you have balance. So if you have any issue with balance, I want you to make sure that you're doing this first. Let's find a spot in front of you that's about eye line preferably. It can be a little higher, but eye line. And focus on that position as you're doing these poses, so that you have somewhere to look, somewhere to gaze at. If you find that you're having any kind of balance issues, that will help to alleviate that. We're going to do a position called crescent moon. So we're going to breathe in and circle our arms up to the sky. And we're going to bring our hands together in the prayer position. And I want you to take a moment to relax your shoulders. It's very easy to raise them up as we do that. And you're going to breathe in, reach to the sky a little bit more. And then bring your right hips to the wall and your left arm towards the top corner of the room. You're going to keep your hands together. So breathe in into this position, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. And your hips should be counterbalancing against your arms. So this is the moon position, the crescent moon. Breathe in, breathe out. As you come out of this position, you're going to stretch towards that ceiling again, all the way up to the sky. Relax your shoulders and open them back out. We're going to bring our back of our palms together, and you're going to curve them up towards your chest. Tuck them back down until their back is facing the in front of you. And then you're going to bring it all the way up to the top again. Breathing up. We're going to bring our hands back together. Rise up, and we're going to go to the left side this time. So your left hips will go to the left wall, and your right, your hands are going to go to the right. So take a breath in this position. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. And this is one of the reasons I hate mirrors, because if you're looking in a mirror at this point and you don't see this curved position, you think you might be doing it wrong. But if you feel the stretch down your left-hand side and you feel that strength building in your legs, then you're doing it right. So take a breath in this position again. Breathe out. Or breathe up to the ceiling. And breathe all the way up to the high ceiling, to the sky. And then open your arms back out. We're going to do another circle back. So you're going to bring your hands, back of the hands towards each other. You're going to curve them up towards your legs. Circle them towards your face. And back down. All the way up. This time we're going to flatten our hands to the ceiling and circle them out towards the floor. Okay, so we're going to start now. If you need a rest at any moment, by the way, so I'm going to take a moment to grab a sip of water, so let's do that. Any time during your practice, if you think a yoga class is going too fast, or if you're doing a video, it's going too fast, take a moment to pause. If you need a moment to take a breath and take a rest, do it. This is your practice. You are the one that sets the pace. If you're looking for a yoga class that is in person, I would suggest looking for Hatha. Ashtanga can be a little bit more progressive, does a lot more sun salutations, so I would only do that if you're ready. I would stay away from hot yoga until you feel accomplished. That can be really difficult. If there's any aerobic type yoga classes, stay away from those. Look for a gentle, slow moving yoga class to start your practice. So I'm going to teach you a sun salutation, and this is very, very common that we do, and it is a very good way of keeping yourself moving up and down, that whole getting up off the ground that we were talking about earlier. So we're going to stand with our feet hips width apart. I think this is called mountain pose. I can't remember why, but I may be wrong, so don't hold me to it, yogis. I'm not trained, I'm a trained dancer, but I'm not a trained yoga teacher. So the sun salutation, we're going to start by bringing our hands front of us, and you're just going to link your thumbs together. You're going to breathe in and raise it to the sky. You're going to look up at the top of your fingertips as you're doing this sun salutation. Now, a salutation, as you know, is probably a bow. So we're going to basically bow to the sun here. So we're going to open our hands as we reach down towards the floor and sort of bow to the sun.
Now we're going to go into the next place, which is what we call a half. I can't remember a half. It's a flat back, basically. But you're going to basically rise and bring your hands to your knees and try to make your back as straight as you can. So that the goal here is to have your head feeling like it's reaching out towards the top of your head, reaching towards the wall in front of you. But you don't want to be looking up, you don't want to be looking down towards your knees. You kind of want to keep your gaze neutral directly in front of you. Try to, if you have a curvature in your back, then try to straighten it. So what we're aiming for, if you don't have the flexibility in the legs, it's better to be here than to be here. So you can try to aim for a straight back. The lower you can go, the better this position is. Obviously, it gives you a bit of a stretch on the back of your legs. But take it to where your position is and make sure you get that straight area in the back. So after our tabletop, half tabletop, we're going to bring it down to the floor and we're going to go into our downward dog. So we're going to bring our feet back, so make sure you get your hands positioned well and bring them back onto your toes and then try to stretch through your heels. And in this position here, we're just going to walk our heels down to the floor and get a little bit of stretch going on our calf and our heels. Now, if you're having any troubles with this position, maybe your arms are a little weaker, then go ahead and use the chair. And just take a step back from the chair and just walk your heels and your calves through this position. And I would say you can put your chair in front of you for this salutation. That way you have something to hold on to as you get down. Now, after we've walked through a little bit and got ourselves comfortable here, we're going to bring our weight back over our hands. And this is called the plank position. And this is a very good position for building strength. However, we're not going to stay in it too long because if you're like me, you're not quite strong enough to yet. So we're going to bring our knees to the floor, back into this tabletop position. We are now going to go into kind of like a push-up reverse, which is where we move through into the floor. So you're going to make sure that you have your hands in the right stance, and you're going to bring your elbows towards your boobs and to start bringing yourself down to the floor. Now, as you start doing this, don't worry too much if your stomach hits first. Your aim is always to try to be like a push-up where you have your arms taking all the weight, but until you get there, just focus on making sure that you don't fall down and just getting there nice and comfortably. Once you're in this position, we're going to go into half cobra. So you're going to take your nose and you're going to draw a line up to the ceiling as far as you can go before you put any weight into your hands. Just take a moment to breathe in this position. Then we're going to bring your nose back down. And we're going to push back in to tabletop. Tuck your toes under. We're going to go back up to downward dog. And then we're going to walk. They always say walk or jump, but I start with walking until you have your feet back into mountain pose. We're going to bring our arms up to the side and bring ourselves back up to standing and back up to the sky. Then we're going to circle our hands by turning our palms up to the ceiling. And we're going to do
that little round circular, bringing our back of our palms together, bringing them up to our nose, turning them down, ready for our second salutation. Rise our hands back up to the ceiling. This time we're going to reach up to the ceiling. We're going to just reach up and just a little bit back, a little bit of back bend. Breathe forward, down to the ground, into half back, breathe down. Place our hands in a good strong position. Make sure you've got the wide stance if you need it. Bring your legs back into downward dog. Push back off your hands. And then bring your position back over your shoulders. And we're going to bring our knees down. Bring our elbows to our boobs. And all the way down to the floor. Breathe into a half cobra. Breathe out. Breathe back down. This time we're going to go into a full cobra. So this time you're going to use your hands as well. So breathe in and push your hands up a little further and try to aim your nose for the ceiling. And bring back down. If I'm going too fast, slow it down to your pace. Tuck your toes in again. Push back to our tabletop, and then we're going to push back into our downward dog. We're going to walk towards our hands, and then rise back up to the ceiling. Circle back out with your hands facing the ceiling and the walls. Back down, back of the palms together. Towards your nose, back down towards the floor. And that's our sun salutation. Now you'll see a lot of yogis, they do this quite fast sometimes. I really like to slow it down. But also going too slow can also become very difficult. So just be aware of what your pace is, what you feel comfortable, what time it takes you to get in that position and feel it. The slower you do yoga, however, the more strength building it actually is, because the longer you are in that position, the longer you are building those muscles. Okay, so we are going to go into Warrior One now. So we're just going to take a moment. I'm not going to do a full sun salutation into that, but that's how you would usually go into a Warrior One. But we're going to go straight into the Warrior One position, because I want to make sure that you know how to do it properly. So we're going to bring our left foot behind us, and we're going to just slightly turn the heel into you and the toes towards the corners of the room. So you're going to bring it a little further forward, Maggie. There we go. Yeah. Your front foot is going to be facing the front of the room, and you're going to lean into this knee. So let's straighten up while we show you the arm positions. You'll find that the arm position tends to be up towards the sky in a parallel with the palms facing. Now it's careful, if you cannot do a wide stance, try not to do a wide stance, try to get it as parallel as you can, and you can do that by reaching with your fingertips towards the sky. There you go, Maggie, brilliant. And now take a moment just to relax your shoulders, because we always raise our shoulders when we go into this position at first. Now sink into the knee. We're going to breathe in this position, and this is called Warrior One. Breathe in and breathe out. Now this position will be difficult on your legs and thighs, so while you're in this position, I want you to take a moment to put some extra weight into the back foot, into your left pinky, and that's press some weight and some power behind that leg. Now bend back down into your knee on the front leg, keeping the power in that back pinky. And then breathe, take a breath in this position again. Breathe out, remembering to relax your shoulders. And we're going to circle the left hand to the back leg. going to reach up towards the ceiling with the right hand. Take a breath here. Breathe out. Take a breath in. Breathe out. And then we're going to circle it back down to the floor. And tuck your toe under. You're going to get a little stretch here. And then you're going to bring it back to your downward dog. And we're going to kind of run through a little bit of sun salutation here just to relax, completely counter what you're doing. So bring yourself back down to the floor. A little bit of a cobra release. Push back onto your tabletop. Back into your downward dog, so tuck your toes under. Push back with your hands. You're going to walk back up to your mountain pose position here. I'm going to take our right leg back this time. I'm going to place our foot so the toes are in the corner. Your heel is in straight line with your toe, with your other foot. Your toes facing forward here. We're going to bring ourselves up. And that's how we normally get into this position. So we're going to bring our hands up to the sky. Relax your shoulders down. And make sure you've got your right pinky positioned on with some weight and some strength into that back leg. And then bend your left knee forward. Now reach to the sky with your fingertips. Breathe in here. Breathe out. Remember to relax your shoulders again. Breathe in here. Breathe out. Remember to reach to the sky with your arms and your fingertips, and not with your shoulders. Breathe in here. Breathe out. We're going to circle our right arm back to our back leg. Reach to the sky with our left hand. Breathing in here. Breathe out. At any time, if you need a break for your thigh, feel free to straighten it and then bring it back into position. Reach up to the sky. Let's circle our hands back over. Bring ourselves back to the mat. Just take a moment here. Let's do a couple of breathing rituals. So we're going to circle bring our hands in prayer up to the sky. Turn your palms up to the ceiling. Breathe out as you are bringing it back down. Breathe in as you put your back of your hands together. Turn it towards your face. Breathe out, coming back to the bottom front of your mouth, face, your body. Can't speak. Breathing back in. Up to the sky, flatten your palms against the ceiling, breathe out, and tuck your hands on the breath in, bring up to your nose, and breathe out. Now those are good little cycles to do if you find yourself getting a little too aerobic out and needing a moment to catch your breath. Just do a couple of breath circles. Those will help. I'm sure there's an official name. I don't remember what it is. We're going to go into Warrior 2 now, which is similar to Warrior 1 but slightly different. So we're going to take our left leg back behind us again. And this time, you're going to have your foot facing the side this time. Bring it a little bit further back, Matthew, so that it's in line with your other foot. There you go. Yeah. So you're going to try to keep it in line with your front foot. This front foot is going to be still facing the front. This time you're going to turn your hips facing this way. And one of the ways that we get into that position is we do a circle, bringing our left hand over, and turning our entire body, bringing the right arm up straight in front of you. So we'll do that once again for you, Mike.
Yeah.
So circle up here, bringing it up this way. There you go, keep it there. And then opening your hips out, but keeping your arms straight. There you go. Now you're going to take a look and keep your balance. Your focal point is going to start at the tip of your finger on your right hand. And then then you can bring it in just in front of you. So that's where your eye line should be in this particular pose. Warrior 2 is keeping the hips facing this wall, but you're going to sink into your knee again. This is slightly different sinking because your hips are in a different position this time. So in this position, we're going to take a breath in, take a breath out, relaxing the shoulders as you breathe out. Lengthen with your arms towards the wall. Breathe in, breathe out. Now reach with your back arm towards the back wall. There you go. Take a breath in, breathe out. Again, if you ever need to take a break on your knee, feel free to take a break. Just breathe on it and bring it back into position. This can be very, very hard on your knees. Now we're going to straighten our knee. We're going to take a moment to just really plant your weight in both feet. So make sure you don't forget to neglect your back foot. And we're going to reach forward with your right hand towards the wall in front of you. And then you're going to tilt. And you can either put your hand on your leg, or you can bring it down to the floor, you can bring it in front of you, wherever is comfortable for you. So if you start here, that's totally fine. If you start here, it's totally fine. The key thing is that you're getting a bit of a stretch. It'll stretch your hamstrings and it'll stretch your side. There's quite a lot of stretching going on. This time you're going to try to look at the ceiling and look at the left fingertips and reach your left fingertips to the sky. And now try to open up your shoulders a little bit. Try to bring it back a little bit further behind you. There you go. Reach a little further to the sky, Maggie. There you go. Breathe in here. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. And then as you come out of this position, you're going to reach to the sky. Keep that arm high and then swing it back into our side position. Now if you're using the chair, obviously you're going to be leaning on the chair as you do this to give yourself a little bit more stability. Okay? Now we're going to go and do this on the other side. So we're just going to turn our foot on our right foot in so that it goes straight to the wall this way. And then we're going to turn our left foot out so it goes to this wall here. And the same, since we're already in this position, you're just going to go ahead and put your focus in front of you and bend, sink into that knee. And breathe in. Breathe in. Breathe out. Reach forward, straighten our knee, sorry. Reach forward with our left hand and tilt. Reaching our right hand up to the ceiling. A little further higher to the ceiling. There we go. And take a breath in here. Breathe out. Don't forget to look towards your right fingertips this time. One more time. Reach back up to the ceiling. Okay, let's turn ourselves to our front of our mat, bring ourselves back to mountain pose. And just do a little walking through our legs.
Tight.
Yeah. This really works the hamstrings, your thigh muscles, so it's gonna hurt. And it's one of the best positions you can do to rebuild the strength in your legs. It doesn't look like you're doing a lot, but you are doing a lot. So, okay. Now we're going to try a little bit of a balancing pose. So there's 3 different main balancing poses that we do from standing. One is tree, one is dancer. I'm not sure what the other one's called, but I'm going to call it dancer 1 and dancer 2. Dancer 1 being in front, dancer 2 being in the side. And you'll see a lot of practice yogis doing the tree pose, and they'll be like lifting their leg up really high here, here. But when you first start doing these balancing positions, I don't know about you, but I used to be a dancer and I lost a lot of strength in my feet, which surprised me. I know how to balance, but I didn't know how to ground my feet. So we're going to just start there. So we're going to start in what we call mountain pose, which is feet width apart. And just for the moment, I want you to take a moment to find that spot in front of you. And I want you to reach to the ceiling with the top of your head. And then I want you to take a moment to breathe in and find that stomach muscle area that we were talking about earlier, where you're going to suck it up to your rib cage. Just breathe in that position. Try to hold those stomach muscles as long as you can. Release them when you need to. Then refine that balance of pulling up towards the ceiling, sucking in your abdominals into that position while on 2 feet. So take a breath in here, suck that stomach muscle in, reach to the ceiling with the top of your head, and let it go. So when you do any balance pose, that's the first things that I want you to do, is to reach for the ceiling with your top of your head, tuck in those stomach muscles before you get ready to go into any pose. So we're going to go now and put our weight onto one side by doing that. So we're going to reach the ceiling with the top of our head, tuck in our stomach muscles up to our rib cage, and just put your weight onto your right side. And you don't have to entirely lift your leg up, you're just going to put the weight on there. But you can test yourself out if you want, just to see where you are. Now, I want you to just feel where you are. Is your weight further back? Is your weight further forward? Just see what that weight is in your body. And then I want you to bring that weight forward, allowing the ball of your foot to take some of that weight of your body. In this position, take a breath and breathe in, sucking up your abdominals to your rib cage and reaching to the ceiling with the top of your head. Let's just find that position of where you feel the most powerful. So find that position, leaning forward into your rib, into your ball of your foot is the most powerful. We're going to do that on the left-hand side now. So let's bring it back to neutral. Take a moment to suck up your abdominals to your rib cage, top of your head to the ceiling, and bring your weight over to the left side, keeping your eyes focused on that point in front of you. And again, you can test yourself in those moments, see what your balance is like, see what your weight is on your foot. Bring it forward, bring it back, bring it forward into the balls of your feet. That's where you want the weight to primarily live. Take a moment here as you find this position to suck up your abdominals again. Reach your top of your head to the ceiling. Breathe in, breathe out. If you found your shoulders rose up, let's bring them back down. Take a breath in, breathe out, and then go back to neutral. Now you'll find that the leg that you are standing on, at least I found when I came back to doing bounces, was the one that hurt the most. And my foot started, my instep really started to hurt. So if you have plantar fasciitis, I strongly recommend doing this exercise first to regain the strength in your instep. So we're going to do this again. This time we're going to try to take our weight off a little bit this time, and we're going to just go into our first start of the tree pose. So let's take a moment to just let out your breath. Tuck in those stomach muscles to your rib cage. Breathe in, rise through the top of your head, tilt onto your right hand side, bring your weight forward onto the ball of your feet, and now just lift to your ankle. And if you need to put it down, put it down. Reposition yourself, get yourself into that position, and put it back to your ankle. Now arms, you can bring your arms to the side for balance. You can bring them up to the tree pose, which is in a wide open section here. So repositioning yourself, make sure your shoulders are down. Take a breath. Gather your stomach muscles up to your rib cage. Focus. Bring your head up to the sky and lift your left foot to your ankle. If you can hold this, great. If you find your balance is off, try to bring it further forward so it's going into the ball of your foot, and then release it. just go ahead and just circle our right ankle around, and then turn back the other way. Give it a shake. And we don't use our feet in the way that they have been used to being used. So back into mountain pose. We're going to do that same exercise again. This time we're going to try to lift up the right leg. So we're going to take a moment to take a breath. Breathe it all out. Suck in your abdominals to your rib cage. Rise through your head with the top of your head to your ceiling. Relax your shoulders. Let's bring our hands up, either to the side or you can bring them to tree. You're going to bring your weight over to the left hand side and into the ball of your foot. Lean forward a little bit into that. And now just bring your right ankle to the corner, your foot into your ankle. And if you lose your balance, just bring it back down, reposition yourself, get yourself back into this position. If you find your weight is slipping, bring it to the forward as much as you can, rise through the top of your head, and bring it down as often as you need in order to regain your balance. All the while thinking of raising up. Now we're going to do that one more time on each side. Do go ahead and circle your left ankle out and back towards the other way. Give it a shake. Back down. So back to mountain pose. Breath in. Breathe out. Suck your abdominals to your rib cage. Raise through the top of your head to the ceiling. Put your weight over to your right hand side. Lean forward into your palm of your ball of your foot, and then just lift your left foot to the ankle and bring your arms to whatever helps you balance. Tree, to the side. Or as long as you can, readjust yourself to come up to the sky with your top of your head. Bring yourself forward if you find your balance moving backwards. Feel free to put it down at any time to readjust. And then bring it back down. Back on the left hand side. Release the breath. Take a breath in. We pull in your solar muscles to your rib cage. Raise from the top of your head to the ceiling. We're going to bring our weight over to the left hand side. Bring it forward over to the ball of your foot. Bring your arms into a balancing position and lift your right foot to your ankle. Release your shoulders back down if they've come up at all. And then constantly remember to bring the top of your head to the ceiling as high as you can, holding in those abdominals, repositioning over the front of the balls of the foot. If you've forgotten, bring it back down if you need to regain your balance, and come back up. Well done. Whew. Give your feet a bit of a shake again. Have a drink if you need to have a drink. We are currently in beautiful place called Calypso Bay over in Greece near Plakias. It's very, very hot here today. The ocean's a little wily. Okay. Let's see. So we're going to go into something called pigeon now. Now, Maggie here has a bit of sciatica, so her hips sometimes are quite a bit tight. So we're going to do an adjusted version of pigeon, and it's funny what you learn because I didn't ever think of this needing an adjustment because I don't have sciatica. So we're gonna go ahead and get into this position a little more gentler than you might see it done. Usually you get into most positions in yoga by going through a full salutation all the way down, bringing our leg back down. We're not going to do this in this particular class because we're not ready for that yet. So what we're going to do is we're just going to come down onto our knees, into our tabletop position, and we're going to bring our right knee forward, and you're going to bring your right foot as far to your front left hand as you can. And then we're going to rock our weight onto our left hand and just place our right hand a little further to the right. So you can sit onto your hip. Is that good, Maggie?
Yep. Yep.
Okay. So cobra position traditionally kind of brings the leg back here and you sit over here. So we're going to do what we call a modified version of that. So we're going to straighten our back leg as much as we can. And at this moment in time, if you have hip problems, you're going to stay sitting on this hip. But what you are going to do is to kind of try to bring this into a 90-degree angle if you can. If this is comfortable for you, you can start to rock your weight onto your knee and do this position from here. Now, one of the things that you'll see is these blocks around. Now, if this position is difficult for you, but you can do it without it hurting your hip, then you're going to put the block underneath your butt cheeks and sit on this position here. So that will help you to gain your pigeon, but also allow you to be in the position that it's supposed to be. But if you're doing the variation and starting in this position here, you're not going to need the block. We're going to just have you sit on the side here. What we're going to do first is we're going to just walk our hands forward as much as we can until you feel that stretch in your right butt cheek. Okay? Keep breathing as you're doing it. Breathe in, breathe out. Just keep walking further forward, further forward. Now you might find that your belly starts to get in the way here, so we're just going to take that belly and we're going to just sort of shift it over to the side. You might find your boobs get in the way, so just lift them up, and as you start to go down, if you're like me, I'm still quite flexible, but the body's getting in the way now, so I have to just shift it and move it and adjust a little bit. And until you get to that position where you feel that really good burn in the back of your right butt cheek, that's the position that you stay in. So take a breath here and breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. If you feel that you can go a little further, you can try to walk with your fingertips a little further away. This might give you a little bit extra stretch on your left side of your shoulder. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Now we're going to start to walk our hands over to the right and take it really slow, really gentle until you get a bit of a twist going on with your nice stretch of your left. Find your spot and breathe in there. And breathe out. Now, if you're anything like me, you have to keep reminding yourself this is not a competition. It's not a competition with yourself. Just take it to where it lands and not hurting. Breathe in here. Breathe out. I'm going to walk the other way. As far as you can before it starts to really pull on your hip again. And breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. I'm going to bring our hands back up to ourselves. So we're sitting straight and bring our body back into this. edge it forward as much as you can so that the weight is starting to come into the right leg rather than on your hip. If you have tight back of the legs, what I want you to do is to, if your knee comes up a little bit like this, I just want you to breathe into that knee and then just try to bounce it down to straight. And you're going to just do that in this position and bounce it down to straight. And hopefully the more you do it, the more relaxed it will become. Try not to tense the muscle as you bend it. It's more just about releasing it out of the stretch and back into the stretch. Now we're going to try to gently walk forward towards the leg.
That's it.
That's it?
That's it. I'm going for it.
Alright. And if that's where you are,
Yeah.
that's where you are. And if you can, you're going to just reach forward with your legs moving forward. Now for you, Maggie, I'm going to have you go again your leg. Just, there you go.
Yeah.
Breathe in here, and breathe out here. Now just out of interest, where is your stretch coming here, Maggie?
Here. And under here.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's where we want it, is underneath our leg, our hamstring here. Breathe in here, out here, and come back out. Alright. Now, we are going to tuck this leg back in, and we're going to come back into our tabletop. And we're going to just keep one leg out. So, like here. And we're just going to rock back into our toes again. Rock back into our toes. We're going to bring that knee down. And we're going to try to bring our right knee up and bring our foot forward. Now I'm facing on a slight diagonal mainly so you guys can see what I'm doing. But you want to make sure that your hips are facing your knee. And anything that we're doing right now, if your knees are a problem, then feel free to put a little bit of weight onto your hands so that you can readjust your knee. Really what we're going to do actually is we're going to lean into this leg. What we're trying to do is get a hip flexor stretch right here. So if this is comfortable, you can edge your foot even further forward to get a stronger stretch. Breathe in. Now the belly gets in the way on this. When you see people do it, they're always like, try to keep your head, your whole body straight. That's not possible if you have a belly and boobs. So we're just going to go to the side of the leg and bring our boobs to the side of the leg. Bring your hand down. I'm going to press into it this way. Keep your balancing here. So breathe in here. Breathe out. Breathe in here. And breathe out. We're going to come back into kneeling. We're going to push our leg to straight, keeping our balance with our hands either side. And if you can get it straight, if you can, great. If you can't, just we're going to do the bounce of the knee again, just to help to gradually help that hamstring get a little bit more relaxed. If this is comfortable for you, you can reach your leg further and lift your heel back and reach towards it. Again, if your belly and boobs are getting in the way, just tuck them over to the side. Don't quite go exactly over the front, because we can't anymore. Breathe into this for a minute. Okay, we're going to bring ourselves back into tabletop. We're going to do our pigeon on the next side. So we're going to bring our left foot into the front. We're going to walk it over. Lean forward. And you're going to bring your weight down through your knee and sit onto your hip if you need to. strong. You're going to stretch your leg back as much as you can. And if you can, sit onto your hip. You can bring your weight over here. If that's okay, but not too comfortable, you can bring a block and bring yourself up here. So, today we are going to just reach a little further forward. Just walk our fingertips forward until you find that place where your hip is like, ooh, that smarts. Remember to breathe. Breathe in, breathe out. Again, your belly and boobs might get in the way in this, so if you need to tuck them over and move them out of the way a little bit, just work with what you got, because it's not going away. Breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. We're going to walk over to our left. A little bit of a stretch with our right side. Take a breath in the highest position that is your end. So breathe in, breathe out. Remember, we want it to burn but not hurt. There's a difference. Alright, let's move on to the right side. Breath in and breathe out. In, breathe out. In, yourselves back up to neutral. If you need to give your hip a break, you can just lean onto your left side for a minute.
The block helps me.
Having a block under your hand can definitely help.
Very
for
much.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. I didn't really know what these were for when I first started yoga, and then I actually saw somebody use them, and I was like, oh,
Yeah.
that helps. So use it if you need it, if it helps, by all means. We're going to come and bring ourselves back over to our weight back over as much as we can to high, and reach forward again. Breathe into it. Remember to retuck your belly and your boobs if you need to. Breathe in and breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Go to the left side. And then over to the right side. Okay. Back into central. I'm going to bring our knee closer back to our body. And we're going to bring our left leg to straight. And again, if this is tough for your hip at all, use the block to lean onto it. Give your pressure away from your hip. If this is comfortable, just obviously stay where you are. We're going to go ahead and just gently walk towards our leg if we can. If you're very tense on the back of your knee, just go ahead and give it a little flex there. Now, I was telling Maggie, one of the first yoga classes that I did, there was an old guy that he walked and every single one of his tendons was like this. And he walked with his knees bent and he was really, really in tight shape. I did the same yoga class with the same teacher. I wish I could remember her name, but it was Hatha Yoga. After 6 months of doing that class with him, he walked straight. 80 years old, and he was walking straight. Went in with crunched down, came out walking straight. So even if that's your goal, it's a worthy goal. And that has inspired me ever since to keep doing yoga. So you need to just relax, move forward. Again, move your belly out of the way, move your boobs out of the way, and just tiptoe towards your toes. like me and this was used to be one of the easiest ones for you, it's very frustrating that your body gets in your way. But you can wrap your hands around your ankle if you're flexible, you can hold your toes. But if your hamstrings are tighter than that, then you just go as far as you can. Each time you do this, you will get a little bit more flexible, but don't push it, just let it happen. Okay, now we're going to bring ourselves back into kneeling. So tuck your leg back in, bring your weight over it. And we're going to sit back and bring our left foot forward. I'm going to tuck your knee back and bring your right hand down to the floor. You can put your left hand on your knee for balance. And we're just going to rock into this hip. So lean into it. Breathe in there. Breathe out. If this is particularly hard for you, then just rock into it gently. We don't tend to actually stretch the hip flexor that much. It's a good one to do. If this is easy for you, you can bring your leg your foot a little further forward, so you get a bit of a deeper stretch. But if you're like me, your boobs and stomach now get in the way, so we can't do the traditional keeping it over and under. So just bring it to the side. The important thing is getting the hip flexor stretch. Breathe into the hip flexor. Breathe out. Back and straighten the leg in front of us. Again, if you have hamstring issues, you're just going to gently pulse it. If this is comfortable for you, then you can lift your toes up and get a little bit stronger of a stretch. If your legs aren't quite straight yet, if your knee stays at a thing, I would suggest just keeping the foot more comfortable and just pulsing the knee until you feel that you have your legs straight, and then you can start to bring your toes back. The important thing is that you're gaining that stretch behind your knees. These are going to be really helpful for your knees. Okay, relax it back up. And we're going to come back onto our butt. I'm going to do a little bit of back massaging here. So you may or may not be able to do this all the way, but if you can, great. If you can't, then you're going to do a modified version. We're going to start with a modified version, and you're going to start with our legs crossed. Now you want to probably have your hands on your knees. If you can, keep a hold of your feet, then you can keep a hold of your feet or your ankles. But you probably want to start with your hands on your knees. And what we're going to do is we're going to rock onto our back. So you want to curve your back, so tuck your stomach muscles towards the back of your belly button, and you're going to roll down to the floor and bring your knees up. And you're just going to rock back and forth. Now, if you have the momentum and the ability to come all the way back up, going to go ahead and do that. If you're able to hold your feet or your ankles and you do so, you're going to do that. But this has been a very wonderful stomach straightener as well as back massager. It feels amazing. We're going to cross and change the legs so you get a different massage in here. So take a breath, round over, tuck you over towards your belly button. Seated if you can, and bring your feet parallel. And I'm going to do the same thing just with the feet parallel. This gives you a really good back massage, doesn't it? Even if you're not going back and forth, it still gives you a great massage. Yeah. So let's take a breath in, breathe out, curve over, and we'll rock those of you that are flexible and are comfortable, you might want to go back into a plow. I don't think Maggie's ready for this yet, so I'm just going to show you guys what plow it is. I'm going to put it aside here. And you'll rock into it by rocking in. Oh, too far. I wasn't ready for that. But you're going to rock into it. And that is sort of the plow. Now, as you get older and you get a belly and you get stomach, I find that it is very difficult to breathe. So, I tend to take a breath as I'm going in, and then hold it, and then basically try to hold it as much as I can until I can't breathe anymore, and then I let it go. So, on this floor today. And that's a plow. But if your body's getting in your way, just take an extra deep breath. Let it out as you're there, and you roll out of it as you go. Now we're going to end our practice here by going into Happy Baby. So we're just going to roll back onto our back. I'm going to lift our right knee and our left knee into our palms. I'm just going to rock from side to side, right to left. This gives you a great massage on the back. In a circle, so draw a circle with your knees to the right. practice. I hope you can hear this practice and that I haven't just wasted an hour. Yeah, thank you very much for joining us today.
Bye.